Hey everyone, welcome to a new collection video. This time, instead of doing a 4K video, I'm doing a collection on my releases that I have from Shout Factory. Now, Shout Factory, they are kind of a second-hand site, kind of, but they get a lot of like the B movies or like cult classic films, and they put out really good releases on them, like collector's editions. And yeah, they've done some really good releases, and so I decided to make a video on them because I have a good amount at the moment. I have a little bit here and then a box, which I'll get to at the end. But yeah, if you guys don't know, Shout Factory, I'll put a link to their website. They do amazing transfers. You will see a bunch of John Carpenter on here. Just throwing that out here. And starting with The Thing. I think my dog's done drinking water. Now they're done. The Thing. I know. I think Universal put this out on 4K. I just never did because Shout Factories or Scream Factory, doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Their releases are their Blu-rays. I think they put like a 2K scan, which are pretty close to 4K, obviously. But another thing about Shout Factory is that they put so much time into their special features, like a crap ton, and a lot of them are kind of imports from previous releases, like from like the laser discs or VHS or like DVDs, but they put a lot more stuff on here. Sometimes they put new like interviews and stuff, new featurettes, new like commentaries sometimes. This comes with commentary from Carpenter and Russell, and if you've ever heard their commentaries, it is amazing. They will literally like start talking about the film and then just bullshit for like the next 10 minutes. Go, you know what, screw the film. How's your kid doing? Because they've done that. Yeah, if you haven't seen The Thing, you know, it's pure 80s horror. It's one of the best horror films ever made, period. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it, especially if you love your gore. Another Carpenter film, They Live. Very much like Carpenter's cry against what was going on with politics, especially with Reagan during this. And it was actually kind of weird because I had a friend of mine that watched this film, and they said like, yeah, all the politics and stuff, you know, like yeah, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, you know who that's, you know what side that's supposed to be, you know, poking at, right? And he goes, no. And I'm like, okay, we'll just leave it at that. But you know, it's a great, you know, action film. I know a lot of people say like this movie's horror. I would say it's horror on what the aliens look like, even though they kind of have like these like ping pong eyes or something. And it's like, okay, but it's still, you know, classic. I actually watch this film every 4th of July. Instead of Independence Day or some other films, but I watch this every 4th of July because, well, you know, reasons. Another Carpenter film, Starman. I actually bought this and then watched it because I didn't ever watch it before, so I bought this. And yeah, I bought this and watched it. And when I watched the film, I was like, wow, this really does not seem like a Carpenter film, like at all. And it almost feels like almost like a rejected Spielberg film that Spielberg never did, because it has that studio film influence on top of it. And even Carpenter says, like, yeah, he did this one to get like his credibility back, because he did The Thing, and if you know history, The Thing had bombed real badly, and people hated it, and so his people were just like, you got to do something that puts you back up, like people are gonna love you again, and this was it. So still a great film. It's out of Carpenter's films, it would be one where I'm like, I wouldn't rush out to rewatch this, but I showed this actually to my little brother, who's pretty big into sci-fi, and he enjoyed this. And then we did like almost like a family movie night, and it was his pick, and we were kind of going, okay, we know he's gonna pick, but he picked this, and I'm like, really? You want to watch that again? And he's like, yeah, I really liked it. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's kind of me trying to slowly get him into more Carpenter stuff, because I showed him Starman, and then another one that will be popping up real soon. So, yeah. All right. Step away from Carpenter for one pick. Army of Darkness. I do have the Evil Dead, I think it's called the Groovy Collection set, and that's on 4K. I did it in a previous 4K video. And I do have another Shout Factory release here that is another Evil Dead film. But I know they did put this out on 4K. I do plan to get that one. I'd probably just give this to a friend of mine or something. But yeah, so I have all the Evil Dead films, and this even comes with like theatrical, directors, and international. And personally, I grew up with the theatrical version. I know a friend of mine showed me the director's cut. Actually, I think it was this release. He showed me the director's cut, and I was like, okay, I like where it's going. And then the ending happened, and I was like, yeah, as much as that's something that, Ash would do, I don't particularly like that, which is why they changed it, because audiences did not like it. So I like the theatrical version. I like the theatrical ending a lot more, especially if you go from this to the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show. It takes the theatrical one, and it's like, see, that makes more sense. But, this is one of my favorite films ever. I grew up watching this movie, and I love it. I watch it multiple times every year. And so eventually I will get the 4K for this, but, when that happens, I don't know, because I keep forgetting about it. All right, back to Carpenter. Assault on Precinct 13. God, losing it. This was another one, much like Starman, that I bought and then watched it. I didn't see it because then I bought it, and I was like, I'll plan to watch it. And then it was like a rainy day, and I was just like, you know what? I'll check that out. And yeah, it's despite it being Carpenter's, I think it was his second film. Yes. Yeah, it was right before Halloween. Still holds up. Still pretty fun movie. I would say the remake is a little more faster paced than this one, but it's still very gritty, 70s look, very like siege films, which if you're a big fan of Carpenter, a lot of his movies are siege films. They just are, because he grew up watching those kind of movies. But, out of Carpenter's filmography, this one's kind of on a lower tier because of its pacing. It's really slow, and it's like just 90 minutes, so it kind of feels like it's stretching out to be feature length. But, I still enjoy this movie, and, I have friends that, like siege films, and I'm like, give this one a shot. And especially if you like earlier Carpenter, give this one a shot. You may like it. Right. Next up is my favorite Carpenter film, and I know I already mentioned The Thing. Big Trouble in Little China. This is the Steelbook they put out. Personally, I was just gonna get the regular one, but a friend of mine got me this for, I think, birthday, and he collects the steelbooks that they come out with. And so I'm like, okay, it's still pretty cool. Like, I like the look of this thing. It's just I'm not a steelbook kind of guy. If it's the I've said it before. I can't remember. I think it was with my last 4K video, which I just filmed, by the way. If the steelbook is the only version to buy, then I'll get that. If not, I'll get the other versions. But yeah, a friend of mine got me this, and I love this film. This is my favorite Carpenter film. I know I mentioned The Thing, but I grew up watching this film so many times. I've seen this film much like Army of Darkness, Ghostbusters, and actually the next film that's coming up. I have seen those movies so many times that I can pretty much quote it just nonstop. But, I still love this film, and I'm glad there's no sequel to this or remake that they were going to do with Dwayne Johnson. No, I veto that, please. Please veto that, which it did, thankfully. But they're thinking about doing it again. I don't know why, but, it's Hollywood. And I actually have a friend that is a big fan of James Hong. And I said, well, have you seen this film? And they went, no. And I just went, like, really? Then watch this. Because they said they really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I really do, and the Kung Fu Panda films. And they're like, I really love James Hong. And I'm like, hey, have you seen this? And they went, no. And I just went, almost like depression just caved in. So I was like, you got to watch this one. Just watch it. Right. The Burbs. Much like what I said with Big Trouble in China, I've seen this film so many times. I would probably have to say this is probably my favorite Tom Hanks movie. As of right now, I can't really think of anything else that really sticks out to me where I'm just people shouting out Forrest Gump, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But I think Tom Hanks should do another dark comedy film, much like this, because this movie is just so undeniably hilarious. It feels like this movie they just saying, what would be funny, and they just filmed it. Yeah, what if we just do this, and it'd be funny, Despite Tom Hanks being the lead in this, my favorite character is hands down it's Bruce Dern in this movie. He just has so many lines that are so quotable. I can't tell you how many times I've quoted him saying, "There go the goddamn brownies," or there was even a time I was playing a video game with my dad, and I was just walking through a hallway, and I opened up the door, and he's on the other side of the door. And I asked him, legitimately asked him, how'd you get there? How'd you get there? And then he quotes Bruce Dern in this, "Soldier's way saves the day. Entree." And I just lost it because it was just beautifully timed. Yeah, hilarious movie. I watch this one a lot, all the time. It's one of my favorite horror comedies. Right. Candyman. This is the original from 90s. I have the 2021 movie that Nia DaCosta and Jordan Peele did, which I personally really like that one. I know not a lot of people did, but I liked it, so I bought it. Yeah, it's what can I say about Candyman? It's classic, in not just horror, but just in general. Love the story. I love how real they try to make it, especially in the newest one. And yeah, Tony Todd, man, I miss that guy. It was weird because I always knew him for this, and then he did Venom, and I'm just like, dude, Well, I saw this, and then I saw the Final Destination films where he briefly pops up, and I'm glad he's in the newest Final Destination movie, despite not looking really good. Ugh. You could tell, like, he was obviously filming that while he was sick, and it was like, oh man, that's just so sad. Then he did Venom, and I'm just like, dude, you were just awesome. Okay, so yeah, great movie, and rest in peace, Tony Todd. Right, Slither. James Gunn's first or directorial debut, and this is when he was drifting from just being a writer, because he wrote like the two live action Scooby-Doo movies, and then I think he did the Dawn of the Dead one, which honestly I think is Zack Snyder's best film, and he didn't write it because James Gunn wrote it. So yeah, it's very weird. Like, he goes from doing a alien parasite, a gory, funny, weird as hell movie, and then goes and does something like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like, okay, that's a big jump. And now he's running the new DC universe, which, so far I liked Creature Commandos, and I liked his Suicide Squad movie. I'm really looking forward to his Superman movie, and then what they're going to do later on. But if you have not seen Slither, definitely watch it. It's a lot of fun. This is another one, not as much as like The Burbs or like Big Trouble, that I sometimes quote this every once in a while. It's called The Bastard has Lyme disease, and that makes you look like a squid. It's just so fun. This is so much fun. So, and if you like James Gunn's movies, you haven't seen this, watch it. But if you do, if you don't like gross movies, you're not gonna like this one, because this movie is pretty gross. Okay, back to Carpenter, Prince of Darkness. This is a just really weird, creepy movie. This was after Carpenter did Big Trouble, and he went back to more independent stuff. This is kind of on lower tier for Carpenter. I showed this movie to, I think it was my mom, and she liked it, but at the same time, I just said, like, would you much rather prefer like some of these other films? And she went, yep. So, yeah, Prince of Darkness, I think it's a really good movie. I do have some issues with it, but I do like the concept of blending science with religion. I think that's kind of cool. I think Carpenter was able to do it pretty well, but unlike, I would say, like Alex Proyas with Knowing, where he took religion and aliens, was like yeah, dude, that was a little too much. People Under the Stairs. It's still in its plastic wrapping, but I have seen it. This is when Craven was just in his element. He kind of had it was weird. He kind of had like his biggest years was in the 90s, despite having, Last House on the Left and the Nightmare on Elm Street series already under his belt. He was popping out movies like, I think it was like late 80s, but he did Serpent in the Rainbow. He did this, did Cursed. He came back to do another Nightmare film, which was honestly my second favorite. So yeah, this one is just, I've always found this movie funny. And yeah, I constantly tell friends, they're like, they see this and they're just like, I don't know if I want to see that because it looks really scary. And I was like, it's more funny. Like, it's dark funny. So if you don't like dark humor, you're not gonna like this. Like there's a part where the two of them, or the patriarchs of the house, they accidentally kill their dog. And they have like a kind of funny argument about it just like, you killed the dog. Like, I didn't mean to do it. So it's just kind of funny and just like really absurd at times. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I love going back to watch this, and I'm kind of interested to see what Jordan Peele does with a remake. All right, back to, I think this is actually the last. No, next three are the last of Carpenter's stuff. The Mouth of Madness, one of my favorite horror films. This movie's so underrated. I originally had the Blu-ray that was put out, I think, by Warner Brothers, and I had some problem with the audio. Like, some bits, like a lot of the dialogue stuff were fine, but then like a lot of like the flashbacks, if you've seen the film, a lot of like the flashing images going by that happened a couple times during the movie, that was like really loud, and I was like, turn it down. They fixed it, so I'm like, oh, good. So I just gave that one to a friend of mine. Such a good film. If you love Lovecraft stuff, this is a great Lovecraft movie that he never did, or a Lovecraft story that he never wrote, because this is just so good. And yeah, I love this film. I love that film so much. All right, Halloween. I mean, it's probably obvious by now, but, big fan of Carpenter and, of Halloween. Probably can't tell, but, but I talked about this in a previous 4K video, but yeah, this is the 4K release from them, and it comes with, original cut, let's see. It was original cut and extended cut for TV, and I think something else. Yeah, I think another cut. Yeah, I don't know, but it comes with the original cut and the television cut, which adds a bunch of stuff that was they were shooting Halloween 2, so a lot of it was just kind of trying to connect with that film, and it was like, you didn't really need to do that, but they had to do it for time. That classic film, if you haven't seen it, this is one of the classics. I don't know where you've been, so just watch it. All right, I lied. Almost the last Carpenter film, The Fog. I need to either get a new one of this or just get the 4K, because I tried showing this one to my little brother, and like the first 10 minutes, it was almost like it was scratched, even though I looked at it and it wasn't scratched at all. So I'm like, probably need either upgrade or just get another one. I don't know yet, but The Fog, I've always liked this film. Even the first time I saw it, yeah, its pacing is very slow. And yeah, some parts were like, okay, that doesn't really work there, but okay. I still enjoyed the film. So, I know Carpenter says he doesn't like this film, but, Carpenter kind of being a little grouchy old man now. He's just gives the attitude of, I don't care at all. I just want to... He even said, like, I don't care at all. I just want to play video games and watch basketball. And... okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, but I enjoy the film, and I still do. Despite it being a little slow, it's still on, like, lower tier Carpenter, but I still enjoy it. So, if you haven't seen this film, check it out. It's a nice little 80s ghost story. Last Carpenter. Escape from New York. This is actually out of print, I think. The Blu-ray is. Because I know they put out a 4K for it, and I think this went out of print. If so, then I may have to upgrade. This is... if you want a glimpse into kind of Carpenter's personality-wise, this is it, because he's a big Clint Eastwood fan, and this feels like this kind of feels like a Clint Eastwood movie, but just with Kurt Russell, and this kind of launched his kind of '80s career, because then the year after he does The Thing, and then gets all these bigger roles and stuff. So, yeah, especially with it being like a Clint Eastwood film, and the fact that they were able to get was it Lee Van Cleef, yeah. And also the fact that when I watched this movie, I didn't realize Cabby in the movie was played by Ernst Borgnine, who I grew up watching SpongeBob a lot. He's Mermaid Man, but one of my other favorite performances from him is from Red. Even though he's barely in it, he's the gate, almost like gatekeeper to the CIA. And when Carl Urban goes down to try to fetch Bruce Willis's file, he's like, I didn't know this area existed. It doesn't. It's just so deadpan. I love it. But yeah, Ernest, I love that guy. And every time when I think of SpongeBob, I think of him just saying evil. And it's just amazing. Okay, now we're done with Carpenter, and we have two more releases and then a big box. So almost done. The Evil Dead remake, which I've talked about in a previous 4K video, so I won't go too depth into this. I have all the Evil Deads, as I mentioned, but I bought this one because I actually kind of enjoyed this one. It wasn't great. I loved the gore because it was very gory, very practical. It just characters were just meat to the grind on this one. Didn't give two shits about them. But is it as bad as people say it is? No, and a lot of people didn't like this one because it was more serious. And I'm just like, well, look at Evil Dead Rise. That one took it more, that one was serious, and that one was really damn good. So, whatever. Okay, last one up. Drag Me to Hell. Another Sam Raimi movie that I think a lot of people need to watch, especially if you're big fans of Evil Dead. This is just pure Sam Raimi. This is pure him. If you've seen the Evil Dead films, watch this, because this almost feels like this could have been another Evil Dead film, but they're just like, no, let's not repeat ourselves too much. From like Evil Dead, it's bloody, it's gross, it's funny, and this is all of that. This is all of that. This is pure Sam Raimi. When you have a scene where you have almost like a Conjuring scene, and then they say we're going to transfer the demon into a we're going to use this person as a vessel, but then we're going to transfer the demon into a goat and then kill the goat. And then when they do that and the goat just all of a sudden starts talking, you're just like, yeah, this is Sam Raimi, written all over it. So yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely give it a shot, because it's a lot of fun. And the ending, well, it was predictable for me. It was still like, oh shit. It was like, oh boy. And this comes with the theatrical and the unrated cut. So yeah, watch it. Okay, now for the big box, which is the Friday the 13th movies. It comes in this big box. It's all, what was that? 11. No. 12. I'm losing my mind here. But it's all 12 films in this big box. I actually waited for this thing to go on sale. And much like the other ones, much like some of the ones I already talked about, I bought this and then watched them all, because the only one that I saw was the original. And they all come with their own special features. It also comes with a bonus material, but it has its own separate disc. Yeah, I've seen them all, and I actually watched. Ugh, almost dropped them. I saw them all from here, and then I did the review for it. That was like almost like 2 hours, but it's because it's 12 movies. But the Friday the 13th series, maybe we'll get another one. I know we're getting that prequel series with Linda Cardellini as God, what's her name? Pamela as Jason's mother, which is kind of like okay, we'll see what happens. But it is being produced by A24, and I believe producing same producers as Hannibal, which I've heard was pretty good. I just never watched it, so it's kind of like okay, we'll see what happens. But yeah, these are just they're stupid fun slashers. Most of them. There are definitely some in here, like I would say 5, 7, 8, and 9 that I probably will not watch again. Especially 8 and 9. Like those ones are just like, nope. Like maybe for like an amazingly stupid movie, which I do want to get back into. There's some in here that would make perfect choices for that. Yeah, I think I bought this on sale. I got this on sale because originally I think it was like $150, and they dropped it down to like 80. And I was like, that's more reasonable. I'm like, thank you. So yeah, I think they still have this. So yeah, if you're a big Friday the 13th fan, you probably already have this. But if you don't, pick it up. It's a lot of fun, and I actually have been watching these with my dad, who has not seen any of them, and I was like, they're a treat. I don't know what treat, because you're gonna have to think of one at the end, but they are a treat. So, definitely pick it up if you don't have it. Just wait for it to go down in price, and that is the movies I have on Shout from Shout Factory as of right now. They do have a couple of more that I'm like, I want to get that, like Sleepwalkers, because I love stupid bad movies. I don't need to explain myself. My last 4K video, I talked about Madam Web, because I do actually have that. So whatever. So yeah, that's my Shout Factory or Scream Factory, one and the same collection video. If you guys want to see more collection stuff, like God forbid, do an actual like Blu-ray collection video, which is that'll take years off my life, but screw it. Let me know, and guys, see you guys later.